It'll be a little Manjaro update. Oh, I don't know how long I've been doing Linux Manjaro. This is just on my little laptop. And I have some kind of like decibel blocker now on my on this thing. I just can't get the the level up, although it is you know stereo at least. The big machines are only recording on one side of the stereo, so I'm gonna flip the. It doesn't matter for me because I'm deaf in this ear. I mean, I can't hear one thing. It's just gone, and this ear's got a somewhere between 50 and 75%. It hasn't really gotten any worse, I'd say, in the last 5 years or so, but it's stereo is a hard thing for me to hear unless I have a outside source, live source. Then I can hear fine. I can hear the stereo fine. I mean, I can pan and do all that kind of stuff. And but with the headphones, it goes in another. I just can't hear over here. So anyway, that's why I'll go straight up mono. I mean, one day I'll get it straightened up better than it is, but I'm still working on it. So anyway, I just thought I was going to do a little check-in on how I was liking Manjaro and Linux in general, which I'm grooving. I did a complaint video about all the problems I was having with sound. Turns out that my problem was this little guy. Now, I like the sound of this a lot, and it played, I mean, in some instances, it was perfect. It had this was like what I use as a sound card on my new machine, in my Linux, the big machine. I was having a hard time. I downloaded Ardour, I joined Ardour, I paid the $1. I had gotten jack configured at least to the point of where it wouldn't shut off. And it was actually kind of working. And in the Linux, in the Arch Manjaro thing, I had that little behrnger as my sound card. Well, what happened was it wouldn't. I finally got it after just going all over, doing so many things with it, to play MIDI, which blew my mind. But I could never get it to make a sound go through the audio part of the device through a microphone plugged in, to a microphone plugged into this, this little guy right here. And then this is the controller for it. See, over this way. Yeah, here's a controller for it. Yeah, I had everything set. I tried it so many different ways from Sunday. So I had it working in Ardour 6 point, whatever Ardour was when I got it. I've had Ardour now for about 2 months. And it pissed me off so much that I actually made some videos and stuff talking about how crappy it was, but I take all that back. Because I have learned, well, number one, that was one of the problems, was this sound card, or this interface, sound card, whatever you want to call it. And what was that? And that was kind of blowing my mind because I was running my MIDI from my little keyboard down here that was running through my Windows machine, and then I ran it out of the back of that MIDI out into this machine, and the MIDI worked. Of course, I had to have, my 11 rack on and that power source over there turned on. Didn't have to have the computer. Didn't have to turn on Windows. So anyway, I fooled around trying to get the audio working on that for, I don't know. But finally I figured, well, what the hell, I'll just go to a regular, I'll go to Sweetwater. I buy a lot of stuff through Sweetwater. And, or eBay, it just depends. I have bought some things from Musician's Friend. And they're both good companies, both reputable. So anyway, I bought this. I'm not going to pull it out because I have it plugged in. This is basically the same configuration as the behrnger. And it's pretty simple. Blah blah blah. Has the same, has the MIDI in and outs on the back. That was my main thing. I thought about doing an unboxing, but I'm never going to do an unboxing again. That's like silly. So anyway, I'm going to do a whole video on how my studio is configured and how it works and all the hardware and gear, but I just haven't gotten there yet. And for all you people I know that are just waiting in anticipation of the Shrunken Head search that I have going, it's the holidays and my daughter came, and this is the first little break I've had. So I was just going to do an update on, a quick little update on, nothing I do is quick, little update, but I was going to BS a while about my Linux project. So what I did and what prompted this Motu thing was I said, okay, this distro, getting another distro is not that big of a deal, and I started looking at the other, audio, video, and I came across, I already knew about Ubuntu Studios. I've done that before, I'm not, and it was a long time ago, so I'm sure it's a lot better now than it was, but it literally just had too much stuff, in it. There was every single gizmo that they had was in there. So I never really learned any audio there. But I did learn the video part that Linux had. I mean, there were simple things back then. I think I had open cut or open shot, and they didn't have. But VLC was there, and of course GIMP. I learned how to manipulate and do GIMP, which was really a big deal for me. I mean, I loved GIMP, and then I took it over. I changed that machine when I finally got tired of it. And this is only a couple of years ago. I had been doing Ubuntu Studio on there for about 5 years, I think. But like I said, I didn't really use the audio part of it because I have a whole Windows, Pro Tools setup that just works perfect. So why? Well, in any case, in my crazy, way my brain works, I was not going to give up. I was going to fight this son of a gun till, I knocked the pants off of it. So I got the, I saw this AVLinux MX21. So I read a lot about it. I read, I know there's just this one cat that does this. I think he's Canadian. I'm not sure. And they have a little production company up there. And he is a kind of a prioritized. No, he's not. It's not really prioritized. It's just that he kind of put this all together, and he put Linux all together with Ardour and a few other things. And he loaded Ardour with all the, he loaded the computer with pretty much all the software you would need. So I plugged it in, and I still had the behrnger. And when I put that in, and I actually taught myself how to make an ISO and um, got the download from him. I built my own USB bootable um, ISO, and it worked. And so all of a sudden I have MX Linux, and then I installed it with the installer, and read quite a bit. Actually read for a day or two before I started trying to fool around with Ardour, and I've already been reading about Ardour, but I mean, I had to kind of read the MX Linux stuff or the AVLinux stuff. There's two separate manuals that come with that program, and but I still then nothing worked. So it upgraded itself for some reason to um, Linux Ardour 7. It was 6.9, and then now it's telling me that I still haven't been able to upgrade it to 7.2, but I'll get that figured out. But now I traded it out, and I got that Motu 2, plugged it all in. It literally was making, and then I plugged in Ardour, and I had to run Jack. I had to learn Jack for this system. Really only works when you got Jack plugged in. Um, well, that's not true. You can turn Jack off if you want to. A couple of other programs that don't need it. But basically, if you turn Jack on this AVLinux thing, you really don't have to turn it off. It'll just run everything, all the sound, for whatever, for OBS and for. I don't really probably won't run too many other. I mean, it runs VLC. I can go on the internet and watch, YouTube and anything like that. So it just all works. I mean, that's the thing that blew my mind is it all works. And now my little sound mount module works. So now I got no excuse but to start trying to make some music on Ardour. But that was such a long haul to get to that point that I kind of needed a break. I went, oh man, I got a bad ticker. I had to kind of go. Whew. Anyway, my daughter's here, so I'm real happy about that. So her and I are probably going to be. We started a Christmas little medley last year, and so we'll try to finish that off and get that out before Christmas. And then I've got another kind of special treat for anybody from Saratoga or thereabouts. And it's a special treat anyway. It's a song by my deceased. I hate to say call anybody a best friend, but if there was such a thing as a best friend, it probably would have been Barney or either one of my brothers. But Bernie was like the outside of my family. He was like my goodest friend that I had in my life, one of the goodest friends I've had in my life. Let's put it that way. He was really, really a good friend, and we had a lot of musical stuff. So anyway, he wrote some songs that I produced on regular uh, cassette players. I mean, we didn't have, but I had a rig set up, and so anyway, I redid one of his songs, which was a trip he took to Mexico, and I got my daughter to sing it, so it actually sounds decent. And then I've been fooling around with the, um, producing them. And the more I take out of the song that of the stuff I put in, the better it's sounding. Which is another thing for all you young musicians. I watch Reddit and I read songwriting things on there. And one of the main things is they always say, "Well, how do you write lyrics?" or "How do you do this?" or there's no special way. I've had I've written songs that only took me 10 minutes to write, and the lyrics, music, everything. Yeah, well, 10 minutes might be an exaggeration, but I mean quickly. And then I've had songs that have taken me a month, or and then I have a whole giant pile of songs that I've just never finished. So if you're going to be a songwriter, everything you can think of is going to happen to you, and it's just a battle. You just get up and you work at it, and you do whatever you. Um, if you're like me, I think the grand total I kind of figured out the grand total I made from any of my songwriting is about uh, not even $1,000 for my whole lifetime of doing it. So there you have it. You know, I at this point I don't do it for money. I mean I just do it for fun. Some people like to do gaming and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm getting way back into it because one of the big bummers in my life is I'm not able to play golf very much anymore because I can't get very far. I can't. I certainly can't walk, and even the swinging motion. I just don't have enough blood getting up into my heart. And so, anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that. So the point being is I have a lot more time on my hands to be doing all this stuff, and I've completed my build of my computer. It's work. I got to work the bugs out of it. It's taken some time. I finished this little studio. Oh, and another little thing I learned is um, um, LMMS, which is a little program that you can't really put any acoustic type instruments in it. At least I don't think so. I haven't, you know, and but it's got a whole pile of little synthesizers, and you can plug a keyboard in if you want to. But I just discovered that it's set up to where it pulls up the software of a little piano frame, and you can hit a little piano frame button on there, and boom, and all of a sudden it'll play notes on the keyboard of my little laptop. So I'm going, hey, that's great. I can fart around and make drum beats and string sections. It's kind of like I would say that little program I showed you, Ignite, and there's another one, that I had on a couple of Caustic and G Stomper. It's really kind of akin to those sorts of things. But I like those programs because you can't do conventional things with them, so you end up writing just really bizarre stuff. That's neat. I don't know, whatever. So anyway, that's all I know. I'm still a real happy camper with Manjaro. I'm going to keep Manjaro on this machine because it just works real good, and I pay all my bills and do all that kind of stuff with this machine. And I have my Pro Tools system all working really good. I did a couple of videos with that new camera. I'll probably finish up my shrunken head search series on that with that camera, because it's a definite different look. And I'm also in search of a camera for my new system, and I'm thinking I might get another, just a little overhead webcam like that one. They make another one that costs a little more money, that doesn't have any sound to it, but it's it's 4K like that one. And I don't know if it's going to do any better. This is the Logitech 920. It's like the main seller for webcams, and people use them. They'll put, like I have the Zoom thing for this, but they'll put that one on the back of this and use it as a webcam for Skype or whatever those things are. Every now and then my daughter calls me up and it ends up on this machine. I have no idea what's going on because I'm just kind of crazy. But anyway, I'm going to leave it with you. And adios and buenos dias. And who is that guy? Jimmy Durante, which I know that only people that are close to my age would know about Jimmy Durante. But he did a little traveling music, That's what he did. He would always do a little traveling music. And so I'll just send it out with a little tiny bit of travel. Adios.